Hey there, Autism Fitness founder Eric Chessen, leading the movement for movement, bringing you another edition of Autism Fitness Tuesday training, where I take a strategy, a concept, a practice that we use in autism fitness programming that you can apply to your classroom, to your clinic, to your home, to your gym, anywhere where you are running fitness or adapted PE programs for the autism or neurodivergent population. And of course, these concepts and strategies can generalize to general or neurotypical populations, just about any population of human beings. Maybe not reptiles, so we'll stay within the species. Anyway, before I get started, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, but like it and subscribe it and even share it with people for whom it might make a difference if they are thinking about, if they have an inkling of developing or integrating fitness programs for the ASD population. Good idea to start here. And we're going to be starting today with talking about one of the biggest questions, certainly that I get, have gotten, will continue to get, which is about motivation. Now, I preface this by saying in the Autism Fitness method, we utilize the PAC profile, which is physical, adaptive, and cognitive. And all three of those skill areas are extremely important because physical, we're looking at the exercise performance. Adaptive, we're looking at motivation and engagement. We'll get to that next. And cognitive, we're looking at communication, processing, and how we're using our coaching language, both verbal and nonverbal language, and how we are best guiding our athletes. So one of the common misconceptions or misunderstandings about motivation as it relates to the autism population with respect to exercise is that there is no motivation, that they are unmotivated, that they hate to do it, which on the surface in certain cases might seem to be true. One of the things that I love doing is deconstructing this and having a conversation about it that leads to great successes for life skill athletes whom we may never have thought would be life skill athletes, meaning they are doing resistance training, fitness, on a consistent, regular basis and are actually beginning to, in some way, shape, or form, enjoy aspects of it. So how do we get from what we may classify or label as completely unmotivated to an athlete that actually wants to participate regularly in fitness activity? Now, it all begins with respecting the athlete, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we get there. But we can't have this conversation without talking about the three main motivators of fitness. Meaning, why do people, anybody, get involved in fitness activities and going to the gym, in resistance training? What is the reasoning? So there are three different, I call them pillars or verticals, three whys of fitness. Why number one is body composition, which is great. Gaining muscle, losing extra body fat. This is one of the original drivers for many people to get into the gym or start training. Great, fine, awesome. Second one is going to be sports performance. Now, that could either be a competitive sport, baseball, football, basketball, volleyball, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, or it could be an independent sport, hiking, biking, canoeing, whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be competitive. And then the third pillar there is daily performance and quality of life training. So someone is training, they don't really care about body composition as much as they care about just feeling better, having more energy in their daily lives, maybe some injury prevention in there as well, being able to pick up heavy things without having to worry about their low back. So there's the thing to remember here is that there is meaningfulness to each one of those pillars or each one of those verticals. Those are the whys for anybody to engage in fitness or resistance training in particular. And of course, there can be crossover as well between those. However, in the case of many of our ASD and neurodivergent life skill athletes, when they're starting out, they don't necessarily have the motivation to engage in fitness activities for any of those three reasons that I just mentioned. So what our job is as coaches, as guides, as supporters, is to build that meaning in for the athlete. And it does not mean that we sit the athlete down and explain, well, in order for you to gain more lean muscle, then you need to do these exercises, because that doesn't always work. Think about some of our individuals who are highly literal thinkers and may not do that well with abstraction or way off in the distance results, especially if those results are not exactly, again, meaningful to those particular individuals. So what we need to do is find a strategy to build in motivation for our athletes. And oftentimes this takes the shape or the form of a secondary reinforcer. So what is something else that we can build in that is enjoyable, preferable, engaging for our athletes? And of course, it can be highly individualized, but we want to use some proven strategies in order to integrate that reinforcement for those individuals. Now, the cool thing, and this is really important to mention, is that for many of our athletes, those that I've worked with, those that I work with now, those that our Autism Fitness Certified Pros work with on a daily basis, is that with greater consistency comes a greater sense of ownership over their program. So we have seen over and over again individuals who did not really want to participate initially now gravitating towards their fitness program because they feel confident, they feel capable, and they feel, or they're exhibiting, there's evidence that they feel a sense of capability in their fitness program. And that's a big deal. So when someone feels like they have ownership over something they are doing, that goes a long, long way to increase their motivation and their focus when they are doing that exercise. And this is, again, not foreign to neurotypical populations. When someone first starts in the gym or they first start with a new physical activity and they don't feel that confident and they don't feel that capable, you're probably not going to get the same level of engagement. But as we get better and better, what happens? Oh, we start enjoying it more. We develop higher level skills, and then it really starts to become fun because we have a sense of ownership over it. So again, not too different between the neurotypical population and the neurodivergent population. We just have to have some more dialed in strategies oftentimes for our ASD and neurodivergent athletes. So with that consistency usually comes a greater sense of ownership, and then we have more engagement, so we have more motivation there as well. With our secondary reinforcers, we want to build in a few things that are, number one, statistically more likely to engage the athlete, and secondly, we want to individualize it. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So in autism fitness programming, we use a lot of behavior-specific praise for the athlete when they are doing that set or that rep of that exercise correctly. And we can pinpoint certain aspects of an overhead press or a push-up or a band row or a squat that the athlete is doing really well. And this, again, is a great tool for not only focusing on what the athlete is doing really well, but giving them some acknowledgement around that in addition, which also oftentimes will increase the likelihood that the athlete is going to perform that exercise the same way again, because now they've had that feedback of, oh, this is how I'm supposed to do this exercise. So we can use it as a teaching strategy as well. And then we can get into some more individualized reinforcers, which, even though it's individualized, there are still plenty enough commonalities that we can use this as a practice or a structure in our toolbox. For example, I have one athlete who likes me to ask him questions about his favorite movie, and I can put that into a contingency that works most of the time really well with his engagement with a particular exercise. So he wants me to ask him a question about the movie. So first I have him do a set of overhead presses or rows or squats or whatever the exercise is. And then I'm happy to ask him the question that he's been waiting for me to ask. So even though it's highly specific and highly individualized for that athlete, because it's about that movie in particular, we can take that structure and take that strategy and use it with a variety of different individuals. So the key is understanding the structure. So having behavior specific praise, having contingencies that work for that particular athlete, and then incorporating it into that athlete's program in a structured way so that we can actually measure whether or not it is being used effectively. So the things that we have on our side as far as motivation are the strategies that I just mentioned, and the consistency as well. Having a structured program that is being integrated on a regular basis so that the athlete, again, becomes more calm, capable, and confident in performing those exercises. And then as they perform them and start getting better, they can start feeling out and getting a greater kinesthetic awareness around each one of those exercises, which is a big deal and a big step towards a sense of ownership around those exercises as well. So it may seem like a great leap and a long journey, or however we want to analogize this, going from an athlete who is a hard no, seemingly, or highly unmotivated to perform these exercises. However, in respecting the athlete, we also understand that there might be a high level of aversiveness of a new type of activity, i.e. exercise. There may be a high level of anxiety and a high level of uncertainty around why the athlete is doing these exercises. You, as a professional or a parent, may know why these exercises are so important. However, we need to meet that athlete where they are at and create a partnership in this exercise or in this fitness program. And we're not going to do that by just saying, oh, do this exercise, or you have to do this, or this is important for you. That is not the way things work. So we need to develop a process for that athlete to guide them into fitness in a way that works for them, also works for the programming. So it has to be workable for everybody. And that is going to be conducive to success. So understanding that motivation is flexible, and when we work with that particular individual's needs and capabilities in mind, then we will have a beneficial outcome. So don't give up on it, but it's not just don't give up. It's also recognize what that athlete needs and what tools you have at your disposal. And these tools are exactly what you get in the Autism Fitness Pro Certification. If you are interested in becoming an Autism Fitness Certified Pro anywhere in the world, head on over to autismfitness.com. You can browse the Pro and Expert course, download the syllabus. You can even register and start your coursework right now. So keys are motivation can be increased with relation to exercise. Those three pillars, or those three normal whys of exercise, may not be the same whys that our athletes have in the beginning. So our job is to build in meaning and reinforcement in each and every session, and understanding what is truly motivating for that particular athlete and building that in as well. I am Autism Fitness founder Eric Chessen, leading the movement for movement. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, and I'd love to know what you think about this. Leave a comment in the comment section below, or if you have a question, something that you'd like me to answer in a future edition of Tuesday Training, leave that in the comments below also. Thank you for watching.